Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky lied to US President Donald Trump that Kyiv was left alone in 2022. This was stated by the official representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry Maria Zakharova on her Telegram channel. Zelensky's biggest lie of all his lies is the statement in the White House that the Kyiv regime in 2022 was left alone, without support, she noted, commenting on the spat between the presidents of the United States and Ukraine. Zakharova emphasized that Trump and US Vice President J.D. Vance showed miracles of restraint to not give Zelensky a hard time. Maria Zakharova told that Volodymyr Zelensky's words to US President Donald Trump that the United States will still face problems refer to Kiev's terrorist acts. The US President and Vice President put him in his place, but the issue is different. We are talking about the Kiev regime's open threat to the United States. And the world minority did not hear this and did not want to hear that this regime has already become a terrorist regime, Zakharova said. The central topic of the spat between Trump and Zelensky was the prospects for a peaceful resolution to the conflict in Ukraine. The head of the White House accused the Ukrainian president of an irresponsible approach, saying that his actions put the lives of millions of people at risk and also threaten escalation to the level of World War III. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Russian top security official Sergei Shoigu in Beijing on Friday, state media reported. According to Associated Press, Xi said in the meeting that China and Russia should continue to deepen strategic coordination and cooperation, and strengthen coordination in international and regional affairs, according to state broadcaster CCTV. Shoigu said China-Russia relations were at an unprecedentedly high level, and that the two sides had always had mutual trust and equal dialogue, CCTV reported. He said Russia appreciated China's efforts in promoting a peace solution to the Ukraine crisis, and Russia would unwaveringly strengthen cooperation with China. The visit of Shoigu, secretary of the Russian Federation Security Council, in the Chinese capital of Beijing came days after Xi told Russia's President Vladimir Putin that he was pleased with Moscow's efforts to hold a summit with the US toward ending the war in Ukraine in a phone call. Ukraine on Monday marked the third anniversary of the war, with more than a dozen Western leaders visiting Ukraine's capital to show support for Kyiv. The country's forces were under severe pressure on the battlefield, and US President Donald Trump's administration apparently embracing the Kremlin in a reversal of American policy. The Western leaders warned of the war's wider implications for global security and vowed to keep providing billions of dollars in aid to Ukraine as uncertainty deepens over the US commitment to help. Washington did not send any senior official to the occasion. Xi and Putin have had a close relationship, which is also reflected in the country's ties. China has become a major customer for Russian oil and gas and a source of key technologies following sweeping Western sanctions on Moscow.
号下午，国家主席习近平在北京人民大会堂会见俄罗斯联邦安全会议秘书绍伊古。习近平指出，中俄是山水相连的友好邻邦，更是百炼成钢的真心朋友。今年我同普京总统已2次交流，对中俄关系发展普京总统达成的共识，弘扬永久睦邻友好、全面战略协作、互利合作共赢的新时代中俄关系共同发展振兴。双方要继续加强在国际和地区事务中的协调，充分发挥金砖国家和上海合作组织作用，巩固全球南方团结合作大方向。绍伊古转达普京总统对习近平主席的亲切问候，表示普京总统高度珍视同习近平主席的真挚友谊和密切联系，俄中关系处于前所未有的高水平，不针对任何第三方。俄中组合在世界上发挥了 中俄关系将迎来一系列重要议程，双方各层级深入沟通。今年是中国人民抗日战争、苏联伟大卫国战争暨世界反法西斯战争胜利80周年，也是联合国成立。
French President Emmanuel Macron has said that triggering any escalation would be a big mistake in Ukraine, but at the same time, strategic ambiguity needs to be reinstalled. According to Associated Press, speaking to journalists in Porto in a joint news conference with Portuguese Prime Minister Luís Montenegro, Macron said that essentially making it known at the start of the war that there would be no boots on the ground forever from the West had been a mistake. Now, as Ukraine's president meets with US President Donald Trump for negotiations at the White House, Macron believes overall in the importance of helping Ukrainians to put themselves in the best situation to negotiate a solid and long-standing peace, and the question today is much more how to get this peace today and to avoid all these losses and casualties.
What I did 1 year ago is I reintroduced strategic ambiguity, which was a necessity. I think the main mistake which was made at the very beginning was no boots on the ground forever. So we had to reinstall strategic ambiguity. The point is triggering any escalation would be a big mistake. But I think you should not underestimate the fact that 3 years ago, everybody thought that a landslide victory of Russia was certain. 3 years ago, what was presented by Russia was a special operation for 3 weeks. 3 years later, they took some territories. But we cannot present it as a victory for Russia, and we cannot say that it doesn't work. I disagree, and especially after some strategic defeats for Russia, with Sweden and Finland joining NATO. So this is why we have to resist. This is why we have to help the Ukrainians to put themselves in the best possible situation to negotiate a solid and long-standing peace. And the question today is much more how to try to get this peace and to avoid all these losses and casualties. Merci beaucoup.